Nearly 6 weeks after taking over as the Prime Minister of Nepal, Pushpa Kamal Dahal, also known as Prachanda, is in India on a 4-day visit on the invitation of the Indian Prime Minister. India is his first foreign destination since assuming office. Today we will speak to him on how he plans to steer ahead the India-Nepal relationship. Mr. Prime Minister, welcome to DD News.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You were in India in 2008 during your first stint as the Nepalese Prime Minister. How is this visit of yours going to be different from that one?
I think that at that time we just came from the insurgency and there was two huge tasks we should have to fulfill. Because our constitution making process and peace process were quite interrelated in unique way, we should have to fulfill these two tasks, and we are having a very limited experience of all this transformation, particularly to transform the party of insurgency into a party of democratic competitive politics, and to fulfill the task of completing this peace process and drafting a new constitution through Constituent Assembly is a tremendous political task we should have to face. But now, in this second term, I can confidently say that we have basically completed the peace process. Very delicate and sensitive issue of the peace process were to integrate the ex-combatants in the Nepal army. Yes. Really delicate jobs. We have accomplished these jobs, and at the same time we should have to draft the constitution, declare the constitution through Constituent Assembly. It was also a very challenging job, and both of these has basically we accomplished. Although the remaining task of the peace process we are now going to complete, and at the same time to bring in the board all section of the society in this new constitution is also in the process through the amendment of the constitution. Therefore, in this second term, I have a huge experience of all ups and down and twist and turn of the political process. Therefore, confidently I can say that this second time I can create a more conducive and favorable atmosphere to strengthen and enhance the bilateral relation between India and Nepal.
It's interesting that you are saying that you are looking at bringing all the stakeholders on board as far as the new constitution of Nepal is concerned. We'll talk about that in greater detail later. But before that, Mr. Prime Minister, what is the main thrust of your visit?
To create the atmosphere of the trust and confidence between our two countries, the primary task and thrust of my visit. Time and again in Nepal, I have make a public statement, and so many issues I have declared that to create the atmosphere of trust and confidence between our two countries is must. Therefore, through this visit, I have not any long issues or something like that, but I want to focus my whole attention to create the conducive atmosphere to enhance the bilateral relation, to enhance the level of confidence and strengthen the relation between our two countries. Therefore, primary task is to create that atmosphere and to create the atmosphere of confidence between two countries and two leadership.
Is that the reason why you chose India as your first foreign destination after assuming office?
Exactly, because always our policy is that we give the priority to the neighbouring country, and I think that even India and other countries are also trying to create the atmosphere. The first neighbourhood will be the first, and
neighbourhood first policy.
Yeah, neighbourhood is the first, and as our history, our culture, our geography, everything dictates us that I should have to choose to have a first visit here in India. That does not mean that I do not give priority to other neighbors or other countries. We are having our unique relation with all the countries, but we cannot compare with each other. But history has already dictated us to have this visit first.
Mr. Prime Minister, how will you take forward this relationship between India and Nepal in its own right without being affected by extraneous influences?
I think that because we are very close, and our history and our culture, our geography has created such closeness. Therefore, sometimes there will be some ups and downs, some twist and turn in the process, because always the closeness, where there is a serious closeness, there always the opportunity of some sorts of confusion and suspicion and something like that. But taking lesson from the history, taking lesson from the old experience, we should move forward and strengthen the relation. Therefore, always I think that because of our closeness, sometimes there may be some issues, there may be some suspicion and some confusion and illusion, but with a collective effort, we should have to create an atmosphere to take a lesson and move forward in the higher level of relation.
Can we then expect a positive change all in all in this relationship between India and Nepal, because we share historically very close relationship?
I don't think that we should have to imagine. We should have to do it. Yeah, it is quite necessary. There is not any other option than to move forward.
So we are definitely moving forward from the
exactly.
difficulties
We
of the
should,
recent past.
There is no other option but move forward with clear vision and mind. We should move forward in that direction.
Does that mean that you are ready to chart out a fresh trajectory from what we have seen in the past?
I think that both of our countries are trying to create the atmosphere of the whole review of the history, whole gamut of the history. We should have to review. Therefore, last time we have already organized a eminent personality group to review the history and to have a suggestion to the government that already reflects our desire to review the history and to move forward to strengthen our relation, our close and comprehensive relation to the higher level.
You had referred to the fact that the government of Nepal is trying to bring all stakeholders on board as far as its new constitution is concerned. Interestingly, it's completing a year since it was promulgated. On this occasion, what would you want to say to those stakeholders who are not on the same page currently?
First of all, I want to make it clear that the declaring the constitution through Constituent Assembly, there was a long history of struggle of the Nepalese people. And after the comprehensive peace agreement, there was so many debate and discussion to declare the constitution. Ultimately, we have been able to declare the constitution through Constituent Assembly in a very legal and in a political terms. We can say that in a very authentic way. In a constitutional terms, nobody can raise any questions about the authenticity of declaring the constitution through Constituent Assembly. And we also know that always there is a room to amend the constitution. No constitution in any country will be 100% perfect. There is always a room to have an amendment. We have already 2 amendments have already been organized.
But they haven't been registered.
Yeah, anyway, my point is that, therefore, there is always the room to have the atmosphere of the amendment and to bring on the board all sections of the society. Although after the declaration of the constitution, we have some problems in Tarai, Madhes, and even in mountainous region, other Janjati groupings are there. They are also not satisfied. They had some demands. Therefore, after taking office, I tried my best to create a conducive atmosphere to address their genuine demands. And the process has already been begun. And I am very much hopeful that within a couple of months, we will be able to decide all these things and create an atmosphere for the implementation of the constitution, because we are going to hold 3 rounds of election, local election, provincial election, and central election. And to create that atmosphere, we are trying to have a conducive atmosphere. I am very much hopeful. Not only hopeful, I am confident that I will be able to address the genuine demands of the Madhes and other Janjati groups, because I was the leader. Previously, I was the leader of their demands. I have the privilege and I have the experience to what exactly is their content of their demands.
Which was there in the interim constitution.
Exactly.
Are you slowly nearing a consensus then?
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. Now, Mr.
The
Prime
differences
Minister.
has already been narrowed down.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Mr. Prime Minister, has become the first Indian Prime Minister to pay a bilateral standalone visit to Nepal in 17 years. How do you see the approach of the present Indian leadership towards India-Nepal relationship?
As a first visit, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi has a visit in Nepal and he make a statement in Parliament, and that was really big encouraging was there, and the people have a high expectation. He raised the expectation of the people in such a level that it is really interesting and encouraging, and I want to revive that spirit again. Later on there are some ups and downs. There are some questions, issues are there. Now I want to revive that same spirit of encouragement and all these things.
Trade, investment and development partnership between India and Nepal is quite robust. During your visit, how do you plan to take that forward?
Yeah, my priority is to build trust and confidence. At the same time, I want to focus my attention to accomplish those projects and those bilateral cooperation, those issues which have already been agreed upon. To speed up the implementation of those projects will create an atmosphere of trust and confidence between two countries and between two peoples. Therefore, my focus will be to implementation of the previous agreement and all the projects that is in the process of implementation.
The Indian business community can play a major role as far as greater investment in Nepal is concerned. When you meet Indian entrepreneurs here, what will you tell them?
Yeah, I will tell them that the situation has changed. Political atmosphere is moving forward in a very favorable direction. Therefore, come on and invest for the development of the economic issue in Nepal. I will try to create the positive atmosphere, and I will appeal them to come and invest in Nepal. The political situation is positive. Now we are moving forward in the political stability, and we want to focus our whole attention on the economic development.
Nepal's physical infrastructure and transport minister is part of your delegation to India. Does that mean that we can expect some substantive progress as far as physical infrastructure and transport sectors are concerned?
Yeah, particularly we want to focus our attention, as I already mentioned, the previous agreement and all these things. The postal road is there. We should have to accomplish it, and I am very much hopeful, and I am really encouraged that we are going to have some sorts of new understanding to accomplish this task. At the same time, cross-border connectivity of the railway tracks also will be discussed, and it will create a very positive atmosphere. And at the same time, we are also trying to create the atmosphere of the taking this east-west railway track, and the survey should be accomplished in a stipulated time frame.
Floods in Bihar have become an annual phenomenon. How can both countries, India and Nepal, work closely to tackle that issue?
Yeah, we should have to come together, and collectively we should have to create that atmosphere, and because both countries are very much influenced by this problem. Right now, I have discussed with the Nitish Kumar, the Chief Minister of Bihar, about the flood problem. At the same time, there is a problem of flood in the border area due to some dams and high dams or something like that. This should be resolved with the collective effort of both the countries.
Reports suggest time and again, Mr. Prime Minister, that Pakistan's intelligence agency ISI has been using Nepalese territory for anti-India activities like circulation of fake currency, radicalization of madrasas, etc. How will your government ensure that your territory and soil is not used for anti-India activities?
I want to make it clear that not only my government, but no government in Nepal will allow their territory against their neighbors. We have very clear policy, and we have not any kinds of hesitation that we will not allow our territory to be used against our neighboring countries. We will strongly follow this policy.
Nepal hosted the SAARC summit in 2014. Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended it. This year it is the turn of Pakistan to host the SAARC summit. Earlier we saw an attempt by Pakistan to raise a red flag as far as a SAARC regional connectivity project is concerned. Should SAARC countries set aside their political considerations for a more integrated, connected and developed South Asia?
Exactly. It is quite necessary that this regional, our organization should be strengthened, but unfortunately in comparison with other regional organization, institution, our SAARC is very slow in their progress. Therefore we should have to create the atmosphere, and the SAARC level connectivity, trade and comprehensive development, every issues should be settled, and we should have to enhance him, because in this world of globalization, this regional cooperation should be enhanced. The connectivity, trade, and other issues should be settled collectively.
What are your expectations from the BIMSTEC summit that India will be hosting in October? Because substantial progress has been made insofar as the BBIN transport corridor is concerned, involving Bangladesh, Bhutan, India and Nepal for transportation of goods and traders.
Yeah, I think that it will create a very conducive atmosphere to move forward.
Will your visit open a new chapter in India-Nepal ties, and will that be a durable one?
Definitely, I want, and I am very confident that this visit will create a new chapter in the bilateral relation of Nepal and India.
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister, for speaking to us on DD News. It was a pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you.